On paper it sounds perfect. Jonathan Kuminga for Josh Giddey in a tidy sign-and-trade that fixes everything. The Warriors end their stalemate and add a 6'8" playmaker with radar vision, tempo, and glasswork. The Bulls get a springy two-way wing who cuts, defends, and doesn't need the ball to matter. Timelines align, headlines purr, and everybody goes home happy. So if it's that clean, why does it feel staged? Trades that look this neat usually hide the hardest part, the math. In a CBA that punishes shortcuts, sign-and-trades are mazes. Cap holds, basier quirks, apron triggers. The prettier the basketball fit, the uglier the spreadsheet. And before you even open a calculator, ask who benefits from you believing this. Agents live on momentum, front offices weaponize whispers, and one glamorous destination in a headline can nudge an offer by millions without a single call being placed. That's why this rumor exploded. It's easy to picture and easier to sell. The catch? Rumors don't have to balance, trades do. And the fine print rarely loses. Here's the unglamorous part. Sign-and-trades are booby-trapped. Restricted free agency layers on qualifying offers, cap holds, and matching rights that knot up simple ideas. Add base year compensation when an RFA gets a raise, and his outgoing salary counts at only 50% for trade matching while the incoming player counts at 100%, and your neat one-for-one turns into a seesaw. Now stack the apron rules. Teams that receive a player via sign-and-trade become hard-capped, and second apron clubs can't take one at all. Translate that to Kuminga Giddey at $30 million each. Golden State's outgoing might only count as $15 million while Giddey hits the books at the full $30 million. That gap doesn't handshake without ballast. Extra contracts, a third team, picks, protections. In early July, maybe you can engineer it. By late summer, cap room is spent, exceptions committed, and rosters mostly set. Tweets ignore algebra, ledgers don't. If a deal requires a 4-page spreadsheet, a cooperative calendar, and 3 general managers with identical incentives, it's not a trade, it's a rumor wearing a suit. In today's NBA, headlines are currency. Agents seed tidy scenarios to manufacture urgency. Teams float interest to test prices, and players benefit when their names sit next to glamour destinations. Drop Golden State into a tweet, and every negotiation tightens. It doesn't require lies, it requires plausibility. A whisper like Kuminga for Giddey carries just enough basketball logic to trend for 48 hours, long enough to nudge a GM, make a coach daydream, or spook a fanbase. The point isn't executing this trade, it's reshaping the number on the table. If you're Giddey's camp, linking him to a precision ecosystem boosts perceived value. If you're Kuminga's side, constant demand signals justify betting on yourself. Front offices play too. A convenient leak can test public appetite without committing. That's why the rumor read so clean. It wasn't a blueprint, it was a billboard. Credible, clickable, and leverage-friendly. And while clicks don't add wins, they do add pressure, especially on a Warriors team trying to act fast in a league that punishes delay. Windows close quietly, while the rumor mill spins. Golden State is stuck juggling an RFA standoff and a half-built roster. Veteran targets don't hover forever, they commit to certainty. Each week the Kuminga file stays open, exceptions decay, minimums get scooped, and Steph Curry's margin shrinks. From the team's side, a multi-year term protects matching rights and trade flexibility. From Kuminga's side, short horizons preserve control next summer. That push-pull security versus autonomy creates a stalemate that costs time, and time is the most expensive asset in a second apron world. The irony, the more public the impasse, the harder it is to recruit the exact steady role players a Curry team thrives on. You're selling clarity while broadcasting uncertainty. That's how August mistakes become April problems. None of this says the relationship is broken. It says the calendar is unforgiving. The longer the desk stays cluttered with one file, the fewer tools remain to build the rest of the house. Chicago's position is more nuanced than a trending headline. You can covet Jonathan Kuminga's profile, rangy defense, violent cuts, downhill finishing, and still refuse to part with a jumbo initiator you just invested in. If the Bulls view Josh Giddey's late-season on-ball surge as real, you don't swap your engine for a complimentary wing, even a high-upside one. That's not Kuminga isn't good. That's possession creation is scarcer than wing depth. Meanwhile, interest in Kuminga can be genuine, whether for now or for future flexibility, without implying Giddey sits on a platter. Rumors often conflate two truths. Team A likes player X, and Team A will trade player Y. Only the first needs to be true for the leak to travel. Chicago can admire Kuminga, prepare cap paths, and keep tabs while still treating Giddey as foundational. In other words, curiosity about a type doesn't equal availability of the hub. That distinction is why the story sounds neat, yet never quite touches the ground. Could you force the math with a third team? On paper, sure, stash BYC weirdness elsewhere. Route mid-salaries through a cap space crater, sprinkle picks, and call it creativity. In reality, late summer is a desert. Cap room is spoken for, exceptions are earmarked, and coaching staffs have penciled rotations. Every added partner introduces a new veto, a pick protection, one GM won't soften, a role player another coach refuses to lose, a tax line an owner won't cross. Multi-team trades thrive on early market optionality. By August, optionality is gone and ego tax goes up. Even if you map something plausible, synchronizing timing, medicals, and sign-and-trade rules is a marathon with no water stations. You can draw arrows across 3 cities and still have no one willing to be the ballast. That's why these rumors peak online and stall on phones. The spreadsheet says maybe, the calendar says not now. And not now is usually never, once camps approach. Forget the fantasy swap, there are 4 realistic lanes. Lane 1, bridge deal. Short-term 1 to 2 years, respectable AAV, sweetened with incentives for minutes, efficiency, and threes. It preserves matching rights and keeps trade optionality alive. Lane 2, front-loaded compromise. A heavier year 1 to acknowledge status, gentler out years to tame future apron stress, add partial guarantees or bonuses to align role and pay. Lane 3, qualifying offer bet, 1 year for freedom next summer. High risk, high control. It's leverage, but invites injury/role volatility and freezes some team plans. Lane 4, separate track trade. Not a sign-and-trade picks plus mid-salaries. Cleaner math, fewer apron landmines, and no dependency on another RFA's number. None of these trends are like Kuminga for Giddey, but they work on calendars and cap sheets. The clock matters most, veteran shooting and connective bigs won't wait indefinitely. Pick a lane, and you can still add floor raisers. Drift, and the market chooses for you. The boring answer is the right one. Resolve the file, then build the bench. This is the Steph test. Are the Warriors acting like a win-now team or an eventual team? The answer isn't in slogans, it's in August choices. Urgency looks like clearing the Kuminga logjam quickly, locking in 2 rotation adults, and entering camp with defined roles. Drift looks like public stalemate, shrinking options, and a bench built from leftovers. The CBA magnifies indecision, exceptions lapse, minimums vanish, and apron rules punish late pivots. You can absolutely reframe with Kuminga, new usage, cleaner lineups, clearer accountability, and still serve the timeline. You can also decide the asset is best converted and do it clean. What you can't do is stall while the West arms up. The Giddey rumor went viral because it promised a shortcut without paying the tax of reality. The real move is less dramatic. Pick a lane, absorb the cost, and execute. Dynasties don't end with a speech. They fade through slow summers. Steph's clock is the only deadline that matters, and it's already ticking.